We got some crazy balance changes that just dropped in the update. I'm going to tell you how good each brawler is going to be, what new tier they're going to be in. There's also a bunch of matchmaking changes and some other nice stuff in the update. Let's do it. Alright, so we're going to cover all the balance changes first, but there's some other crazy stuff that dropped in the update. Some really nice new attack animations, like 6 or 7 brawlers or skins got some nice new attack animations. Also, Carl got a voiceover, and there's a crazy new gem grab map that you have to see. But we're going to cover that after the balance changes because there's a lot of important balance changes that I want you to know about, and we're going to tell you really quickly how good each brawler is going to be after those changes. Now here's a little graphic I made showing you all the balance changes. Feel free to screenshot it, but it's also going to be in the description down below if you want a link to download it. Alright, first off, let's start off with the nerfs. Of course, Big Mama Pam, as thick as she is, she had to get a nerf. Man, Pam was way too strong, best brawler in the game. But guess what? She's still going to be a top 5 brawler. I mean, come on, she was by far the best brawler. And it's gonna take more than the changes she got to knock her down a lot further. She got a decent damage nerf, about 8%, a little bit under, definitely gonna impact her. But otherwise, I mean, she got a really small health nerf, only like 2%, and that's about it. The damage nerf definitely gonna be impactful, at least shooting from range and dealing with tanks. But look, she's still got a high amount of health and strong healing. It's not a huge change to Pam. She's gonna get a little bit worse, but still be strong. Leon got a nerf as well. That's actually gonna be the last nerf. Only 2 real nerfs. So Leon got about a 12.5% nerf, a 1 second reduction for his super. Now, 12.5% is a huge percentage for any sort of nerf. But if you think about Leon's super, that's only impactful if it's actually lasting the full length. You use any sort of Leon super, you might have a decent amount of times where you're going to end that invisibility sooner, so maybe it's not quite as big of a nerf to Leon as you might think. But I do think this might drop Leon to B tier, potentially from A tier, because honestly his best modes were Showdown, and the invisibility was the most important part for Leon in those modes. He's still going to be a solid brawler. Maybe he'll be borderline A tier. We'll see. I think he'll probably end up being closer to B tier. Now we got a decent amount of buffs. We're going to see some definite meta changes. And of course, hashtag Crow buff has finally happened. Crow got a solid buff here. He got about a 7% increase to the damage of his normal attack and his super. I'm a little surprised to see his super get a buff. I don't think it needed it, but I think it's fine. Crow definitely needed a buff in some way. I think it's gonna go from D tier to a solid C tier brawler. And you're also gonna see a Pam Nerf, which is definitely good for Crow. That's one of his best counters. But also, you're going to see a brawler that's going to be a really solid counter to Crow. Actually got a buff, and that's going to be the next brawler we're talking about, and that is going to be Carl. Carl got some really strong buffs, and I also think he is going to be a really solid counter to Crow. Crow not very good versus tanks, and let's be real, Carl's going to two-shot Crow, and it's not going to be that difficult with the changes that he got. All right, look at this. His pickaxe now moves 25% faster. Even if you don't have a star power, it's going to be a solid speed. I'm actually really disappointed they didn't give him a completely new star power. I guess this was an easier way of changing Carl instead of, you know, putting in a ton of work to give him something completely new and different, although that's what we all wanted. We didn't get that, but his now pickaxe is going to be way faster. On top of that, his super lasts 20% longer, another half a second. But on the other side of the coin, now if you stun Carl while he's supering, it's actually going to stop his super. Before, if you did like a Shelley super or a Frank super on a Carl who was mid super, it didn't actually stop. So now it's going to, so it's a little give and take there, but really it's at pickaxe speed 25%. That's huge. Carl is probably going to at least B tier for me, if not even further. Potentially, I think he's going to end up being A tier. It's going to be really strong for him. Next up, Shelley. Shelley got some buffs, and I definitely think she needed it. For me, she's going to move up from D tier to C tier. Look, she got a third of a tile increase to her range, and range is one of the strongest buffs in the game. She also got her projectile speed increased by 5%. Not a very big percentage increase, But with Shelley, what this is really going to do, she's become much better at getting chip damage, which also means she's going to be able to charge her super a little bit easier, which is going to be really impactful for Shelley. But I still don't think this is going to make her a strong brawler. She's still just going to be a tank counter, and chip shots are still going to be a big weakness for Shelley, even though this is now going to be a little bit better in that area. Also, some really impactful buffs to Piper. Piper, her super is now going to be way stronger, and this is going to be crazy good for Piper, and I really think she's going to jump up with all these changes. Her super, instead of dropping 3 grenades, it now drops 4 on top of that. I mean, that alone is a 33% increase right there, but now each grenade also does more damage. 12.5% more damage, another 100 damage per grenade, gonna be crazy. Also too, and I think this just makes sense because it's more grenades, but now her grenades are gonna be a little bit more spread out whenever she supers, 10% wider in diameter, which I think it just makes sense because there's more grenades. It makes sense to spread them out a little bit more. I think this is gonna make Piper, this is gonna be great for Piper because first of all, her weakness is close range, and this is gonna allow her to be a lot more effective in close range. If you are a tank, you do not want to be near like attacking a Piper if she has her super at all. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be really good for her. I think she's going to probably be at least B tier with these changes, but we'll have to see. Daryl also got a buff, a 5% health increase. A little surprised to see a Daryl buff. I think he was a top 5 brawler just because of how versatile he was. He didn't feel super strong. He's going to feel strong now. He's still going to be top 10, probably not much more than that though. Poco also got a really solid buff. Heal increased by 14%, so this is going to be really good for Poco. I definitely think he's going to probably be around B tier. Definitely going to impact him a lot in modes like Brawl Ball, and of course Gem Grab as a gem carrier. Going to make him a lot more solid in those regards. Also going to see some like minor changes to Gene, where now if you're auto attacking or quick attacking, quick firing with the Gene, it now takes into account that extra long range from the projectile splitting up. Same thing with Spike. His auto attack now takes into account projectile splitting up as well. All right, we also got some changes to a lot of game modes as well. Small changes, but are definitely going to be impactful. First of all, we got a huge matchmaking change, which is going to make it easier for randoms. Now, they don't exactly tell us how this works. All they say is that matchmaking for teams is going to be slightly harder. And I think another great way to look at this is just inverse it. It's going to be easier matchmaking for randoms, for not playing in teams. I think that's fantastic. I'm glad they're doing something to make it a little bit easier for randoms. If we get more word from Supercell on exactly what they did, I will definitely share it with you all and tell you how it works, but that's all we know for now. Now, Siege also has some really big changes, which is going to actually impact the meta in Siege a lot. First of all, the most impactful one, the Ike turret, the projectile for the Ike, it now homes in more quickly, I guess, or it homes in on the target that is actually attacking even faster. And the most impactful part here is it's now going to hit a charging bull. So now diving on the safe is actually going to be not quite as good, although it's still not going to hit an El Primo because he's invincible in the air. So an El Primo dive is still going to be effective, but Bull just got a decent amount worse in Siege because of that, because that was definitely his best attribute. He's still going to be solid, but not nearly going to be one of the better brawlers that he was before. Also, a Frank stun on the Ike turret now doesn't last nearly as long. Another impactful change. Frank also going to dive down. Ironic dive. He's not going to be diving in Siege anymore, but he will be diving down that ranking for Siege. Also, bolts in Siege are now going to spawn closer to the middle. They didn't exactly say how much more. It said it was slightly closer to the middle. I think this is nice. Get a little bit less RNG, a little bit more favor to the team that has control of the middle as opposed to it being just sort of random. It's still going to be random, but at least it's going to be a little bit better for the team that has control. Oh, also the Ike attack, the Ike projectile no longer does area damage, which is another really impactful change. There were a lot of times, especially with tanks, where if the Ike was attacking, say, the robot, and you were trying to be a close range brawler and go attack the Ike, it would hit you too, because you, of course, you're both trying to hit the Ike and you're both right next to each other, things like that. So that no longer is going to happen. So it's actually a solid buff to buff to melee brawlers, but only not during dives, only when you have a robot up and attacking the Ike. We also have some changes to meteors into healing mushroom and energy drink, which we actually touched on earlier in meteors, that now is supposed to have better logic to target people who are grouping up, and it's sort of the opposite in energy drink and in healing mushroom. Did I say those modes right? I think I did. It's energy drink and healing mushroom. It's on the graphic. It's got it up there, where they're now targeting people who are less grouped up, more likely. So basically, it's supposed to be anti-teaming sort of measures. Great to have some sort of anti-teaming stuff. The best, though, would be bringing back Life Leech, guys. Come on, that's obviously the best modifier to stop teaming. We all know this. Supercell knows this. Bring it back, Supercell. Bring back Life Leech. Come on, make it happen. Also, change in gem grab. The second gem now spawns a little bit later. I'm not entirely sure why they made this change. Interesting nonetheless. Probably not very impactful, but that's fine regardless. Also too, one other small change is now for any sort of spawnable, like a Jessie turret or a bear or actually not a Pam healing station in this case, if that brawler has their star power, they're now gonna put a little star power icon under that spawnable if it impacts that brawler. So that's why I said not the Pam turret, because Pam star power does not impact the Pam turret at all, but it does impact, say, a Jessie turret, a Penny turret, and a Nita bear. They're now gonna have a star under it if that star power impacts it. All right, now there are also a ton of bug fixes. I'm gonna put a list up here. You can pause and read all of them if you want, but I'm not gonna go over all of them. Some of the notable ones were in Robo-Rumble. They now fixed the Robo-Rumble glitch where some robots wouldn't attack the safe if they were enraged. That's no longer working. Brawl Ball changes now actually, if there's an own goal, it's gonna actually give the correct credit to like the person who either killed that person to cause it to go in or give it to the last person who hit them. They're basically attributing goals a little bit better. Also, Gene got some bug fixes too. Now for the attack animations, and let's start out with the guy who got a remodel, Bo. All right, look, a lot of people are giving Bo's remodel a little hate. I kind of like it. It's definitely better, I think. Maybe it could be more cool, I guess, but I think it's a solid one. First of all, he got a new attack animation with his normal attack. It looks more like arrows that explode, honestly. It's like arrows have an explosive on the tip of it. Looks fine, looks cool, it looks better anyways. The mines, they look more like actual mines, like things that you step on and they explode, that sort of thing. Yeah, they look more like that. Also, he's got a new win animation or new idle screen animation, like when he's just sitting there. Also a new animation for when he loses. Leon got a new attack projectile animation. I think this looks really sweet. Just looks more like actual ninja shurikens, and it makes him look more like a ninja. But that's about it. Boombox Brock also got some new animations, but not to his attack or anything like that, just to his like dances, because it's actually literally more like a dance now. He is kind of actually dancing, which makes sense because it's Boombox Brock. Man, that is an alliteration. That's kind of hard to say. You say that 10 times fast. But yeah, it looks like he's dancing now. And also, they moved his hat up a little further. So yeah, I don't know if they're trying to stereotype a little bit more or something there, but yeah, they did that too. Spike, they just changed how his projectile looks a little bit before it explodes. But that's basically it. They didn't change anything else with Spike. Primo's supposed to have a new attack animation for his main attack, although honestly doesn't look that different. I don't know if that's just me. If you guys can notice though, let me know. Golden Barley got a new projectile. It's sort of an animation. I mean, like when he throws his projectile, it looks different. It looks like he's throwing a golden bottle, which makes a lot of sense for Golden Barley. And hey, why not? It looks cool. Little Helper Penny also got some new attack animations. Now that main attack looks a little different, looks a little nicer. And also when you throw that penny cannon, it also looks a little different. And hey, I think it looks pretty sweet. All right, now before I show you that crazy gem grab map, listen to this Choral voice acting. I definitely like it, and honestly it fits so much more with the meme I made in the last meme review. If you haven't seen it, you definitely now have to go see it because it's just so much more appropriate now with his new voice acting. But here's a clip of a lot of different voice acting that he has. Enjoy.
Evolution, it must have passed you by. My calculations are always correct. Geology rocks! I'm detecting seismic activity. Coral is my name. Geology is my game. So much ignorance, so little time. The rocks speak to me.
Some other notable things. First off, the training cave is really cool. You can easily go in and attack a bunch of different types of robots. They just keep on respawning. Not only that, but you can see your DPS, how much damage per second you do with each brawler when you're attacking those robots. Really sweet. Definitely go check it out with any brawler you want to see. What brawler can do the most damage? More info on the name change. Of course, the first one is going to be free, and then it goes 60 gems, and then 90 gems, then 120, and then 150 for each consecutive name change. And I guess you can't do any more after 150. But also, too, I think there's a cooldown on how often you can use that name change. Not a very long one. I think like a day, perhaps. I don't entirely know. I don't know if I really want to spend the gems to find out, but if you want to do that, definitely let me know. The super button radius is actually supposed to be bigger, I guess. It says it's supposed to be increased, but it's not a visual change. So it's probably just a touch change, like where you're touching on the screen is now a wider size for when you're using your super. All right, as far as new maps, there is a crazy new gem guard map, and I'm gonna show you in the gameplay because it's hard to tell from just the picture, but actual literal mine carts spawn on the map and they go along the rails. It's crazy. There's one from each side. You can't attack through the minecart. The minecart will push you back. You can't break it. It does damage if it hits you. It's kind of insane. I don't know if it's going to be a modifier that makes... It's honestly, it feels like an event modifier, really, is what it feels like. There's also some other new maps, 2 new showdown maps. One of them actually has jump pads. Flying Fantasies. Looks kind of cool. We'll see how jump pads go in showdown. I think it's going to be fun a couple times. We'll see. Royal Runway looks fine. Nothing crazy. No new heist maps. No new bounty maps. There's one new Brawl Bo map, Center Sage. It's honestly kind of like Bone Box. Or sorry, it's not Bone Box. Stone Fort now is the name for it. But for Brawl Bo, which I do like having a map like this. Just honestly, it's a unique map. So I think that's good. There's 4 new Siege maps. Okay? Honestly, a lot of them look kind of similar. I don't know if that's just me. They're definitely not the same per se. But at the same time, I think part of it is I would like to see some Siege maps with different obstacles. I think everything just looks bland. Everything looks the same. All pink, a little bit of grass. It would be nice to see some different environments in Siege. Regardless, though, there's some new Siege maps, so that should be fun. I'm glad to see some more variety. Should allow a different meta, perhaps. But let's show you this new map in Minecart Madness. And we're going to go with Choral, and you're really going to see... Oh, I don't have my headphones plugged in. No wonder. Wait. Okay, there we go. You're really going to see with Choral... Look at this. Here's a minecart. Look, I can't attack through it. I can't. They spawn like every couple seconds. They go through, but look how fast his pickaxes are. No, I'm not even paying attention. But look, I'm gonna get hurt here. Oh, 2,000 damage. I didn't think it was that much. But look at that, man. That's crazy. That's so much damage. It's such a big impact. They spawn on each side, so like one of them goes, that one's always gonna go on our side, like it just follows the rails, right? Of course. And the one that's on the left is always gonna go towards the enemy spawn. Let me know what balance changes or new things in the update you're most excited about to see in game. That's gonna be it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you later.